We are going live. Oh man, I hate that. All right, look, welcome back. Happy Monday. It is 11 a.m. I'm excited to be here. Super cool topic. I think it's pretty nuts and bolts, practical, ground floor. Name your analogy. I think this is a really cool topic. It's the 3 tips for choosing a Squarespace template. All right, generally, this doesn't have to be for Squarespace. The bulk of what I'm going to share with you is applicable for any website platform that has some aspect of DIY. Sign up, choose a template, get cracking making updates to it, publish. I think that's about it. So, different levels of technology out there, but I'll tell you, I ran a couple of searches. I was thinking, I really want to help people just getting started, which was basically my note in my topics I should touch on list in Apple Notes. And when I thought about that, I ran a couple of searches in YouTube here. And in search, I use DuckDuckGo. And a lot of stuff is really hollow. It's thin, it's light. So I got kind of excited. I guess that's why I have this energy today. It is not because it's Monday, but I'll tell you, a lot of what I saw fit a theme. It was identify your goal, consider your site structure, and look for flexibility, and evaluate the navigation. And in my experience, and I've been making websites for 29 years, and I've been using template DIY systems like Squarespace for 15. And while I don't use templates myself much anymore, will tell you none of that matters. Goal is so vague. You can't possibly really know your site structure unless you're doing a pure migration, right? I'm talking net new. I have a business to set up. I'm going to sign up for this thing and I'm going to pick a template. So what should you do before you go and do that? That's these 3 things I want to touch on today, because many business leaders out there are drawn to templates. I think in general, because it appears like it's either a brand look that resonates with them, or they think it's going to be easy to edit before they hit publish, which makes total sense to my reptilian brain. And while that is a practical consideration, I'm going to help you with that. There's more important aspects, especially if you're going to choose Squarespace, because I have more on this in like a bonus. I guess I'll out that I have a bonus. So it's not really 3, it's 4 tips. But any design can be easily chiseled into look like any of the other designs. I know that's crazy. I got more for you just coming up. So here's some guidance, the 3 tips. The first one being start with the assets you know you have. So instead of considering it a holistic plan, like what do I want all this stuff to look like on all of these pages, choose your hero photo first. What page? Your home page. That's the one that most people come to. It gets the bulk of the traffic on the website. It sets the first impression, and we've all heard first impressions are everything. This photo is the most important asset on the entire website. I would argue photography, period, is the most important asset on any website, because nothing is able to make an immediate emotional reaction or response or connection with anyone quite like photography. So having a great hero photo, top of the website, first thing anybody sees, is critically important. Now, we're going to go into language here, but I want to think about how to frame that photo. Should it be stage right, stage left? And I have no idea if I'm moving to the left or the right here. Should it be framed in the middle? Because if it's framed in the middle, you're going to put copy over somebody's face. Do you lose the emotion? Should it be framed to the left and you have copy to the right, or to the right and to the left? Think about how the photo is framed. The biggest mistake people make with a hero photo is picking in something that's framed really tightly or cropped right around the subject matter, whether it is a car or a face or a sandwich. You want a wider frame, right? Like that. So that you can put copy around it. Even on my thumbnails, I'm like, put copy behind my head and it covers part of the text. And I'm sure people look at that and say, well, that's stupid. It covers part of his text. His head covers part of the text. No, I did that intentionally. And there are other things you can do intentionally with hero photography and building layers. I've got more on that in the bonus tip as well. But the thing to consider here is when you write out, right? The next thing I want you to do is write out on a piece of paper or type it up in a note and make it like 150 point text, right? In Word or Pages or something. And I want you to write out the value proposition of the service or offer. Put that down, okay? 30 characters, 60 characters. It shouldn't be long. And that's sort of your header one, right? Your main headline on the page. And do it with customer language. If you use internal language or industry lingo or jargon, you'll find there isn't enough search volume, and then you're going to wonder why you don't rank in Google. Use practical, plain terms, whether you like it or not, that customers use to find businesses like yours, because they don't know what you know. All right, next one. This is all part of the first tip. Tip one is start with your key assets, right? The next key asset I want you to pull out is your positioning statement. And if you don't have one, write it. Write it in this format. We help X get Y so they can Z. We help blank get blank so they can blank. Write it out, type it up underneath the headline, and do that in 70 points instead of the 150 points that you had in your Word document or wherever you're making these notes. Visualizing these assets, right, will influence the choice of the templates that you make, like the choice you make, and help you find a template that is a little more easy to update. So if it's having photo to the right or to the left of someone's head or the sandwich or HVAC or whatever it is, the service that you offer, and then making sure that it all fits and is legible, and you've chosen a great photo that has an emotional connection, whether that emotion is the outcome that they want, the relief from the service you provide, or if it's the acquisition of a thing. It doesn't matter. Just when you get those things right, to some degree, I'm not sure it even matters what template you pick. As long as it has a strong call to action, you'll drive some business. Oh, and the next tip is clarify your call to action. Know this going in. What action do we want visitors to take? It's crucial. If we know that we want people to make a call, pick up the phone and dial and get our service line or schedule something, or if we want people to sign up for a newsletter or schedule a discovery call, right? Those clicks, we're going to need to ask for that in a certain place on the website. And if we want them to purchase products, then that should be the priority. Have the products laid out, which you might think, duh. But look, there are different places to put a strong call to action. Sometimes you see buttons up in the nav bar, or just a phone number with an underline. You know if you hit it, it's going to dial. Or a button in the hero underneath, so you've got like a header and a subheader with your, hopefully, a really, really great positioning statement, and then a button. Click here to get started, or click here to learn more, or click here to book your discovery call. So even if you want, like in a secondary area on the website, a small form, or if you use a pop-up and you want people to sign up for your newsletter, know that going in will help you make better choices for the template. So that way you can focus on just changing the call to action in that button or in that form instead of having to create it from scratch if you're not already platform familiar. It's just, a half step less, or maybe one step fewer that you have to take to get it to be something that you publish, right? And not having to move it or move it around is nice. And no, I know you're thinking, but I have all these offers and all this. No, you can't have multiple goals on a page. A web page can only have one outcome. So if you have multiple offers, write them out or think of them as a funnel. These products, people that buy this service or product also buy this, also buy this. Think about how aware they are of your category or your industry or your business itself. And then you can prioritize those. So the deeper they go on the website, the stronger call to action for the more known items or the things that are more leveraged for the business is more valuable to them in that space, as opposed to asking for a whole lot of money. It's like at the top, like when you walk onto a car lot, they're like, all right, you ready to buy this car right now? No, they want you to drive the car, get to know the car. You got to run credit. You got to do all kinds of things. It takes hours to buy a car. That's why. So it's the same thing. Flow and match your calls to action with the right level of content on the right tier of the website. And you'll find that that helps you pick a template that allows you to cascade that throughout the website. And tip number 3, I guess it's the final tip, but I did tell you of a bonus, is to know your brand identity. If you don't have one, you just want to pick a theme that looks great because you like the font or the colors, that's fine. But it's also going to be more work to update in the long run than if you sit down and have an understanding beforehand of the fonts you do want. Do some research, do some searching, talk to friends and family, find out what is normal in your industry, not just what you like. Because at the end of the day, what we like may not be what converts. People don't actually have to like the design that they're publishing. I don't like the design of everything that I've published, but it works and it drives business. And that's really what we're here to do. I mean, if you're here for vanity, you just want to publish something you think is nice, that's great. It may not be optimized for the business, but maybe it is. Maybe you can serve both masters. It's possible. But knowing the fonts you want, the color scheme that's going to work for your business, your industry, right? Banks rarely pick red in the West, period, because it's in danger, caution, emergency. They're all blue and green for a reason, right? So another one I like to throw in, and it kind of harkens to design principles, is have an understanding of the amount of white space and negative space that you're comfortable with. If you pick a theme that's really dense in content and has really tight margins for everything, so you can cram a lot of things in there, but you don't have a lot of content, you're going to be deleting things. And then it's going to look sparse in a way that is uncomfortable because it wasn't made or designed to serve that much content. The same thing is true if you pick a really sparse, beautiful, like, Apple-looking website, and you have a lot to say and a lot of copy and a lot of products and services, you're going to start jamming things in there, and it's going to be more work to get them in. So have an understanding of the amount of negative space, not the amount of content you need. I'm talking about the amount of negative and white space that you're comfortable with from a design and branding standpoint, because the consistency of negative space after choosing a great photo is one of the biggest contributors to making an emotional connection with your business and your category with the right consumer. If you design something too nice for the category, people aren't going to believe it's true. And if you design something too inconsistent and tight for a really posh category, it's going to be really hard to convert those customers because they were looking for something that looks entirely different, right? So understanding the amount of negative space and white space you need and or have comfort with will go a long way to helping you understand whether or not you've achieved your design goal, but also your branding goal, right? And I think that the final bonus one, on the last one, I also want to say it does contribute to reduced amount of effort to customize things, right? But I didn't add that one because I thought it was assumed. The final bonus one is utilize Squarespace's Fluid Engine, like really bang on it. Because when you first get started with it, if you're not familiar with it, it's pretty overwhelming because while the benefits of Fluid Engine in Squarespace 7.1 are countless, amazing, it's also that much flexibility creates a lot of complexity. When you start layering objects and overlaying them and dragging objects around and text and images and shapes, and you start seeing how they respond to mobile, all of a sudden you're like, well, I'm done. Because that's really a lot to manage and take in as you're learning the system. So explore the content blocks, the text type, expanded type. The shape blocks are amazing. It basically take away the need for Figma. Put in forms, alter the forms, edit the forms, put in different photos, mess with overlays, mess with outlines and shapes. Use the bucket tool for text blocks and color them and use an outline and bang on the different amounts of padding inside of those boxes. The same thing goes for sections. Understand what small, medium, and large section padding looks like and customize it. You can customize the grid. When you get to know those things, it's not that you become a better designer. It's that you start to understand what you can expect when you make changes on the system as you continue to mature and learn more about it. And that's really what I'm trying to accomplish here is comfort with what to expect based on what outcomes are. So the inputs, outputs, outcomes, I will say, matter. Having experience with those things, even if you haven't used that content type and published it before or after, will still help you from an experience standpoint, because it can be pretty challenging. And I want to let me say this. I don't know if every designer is going to like this, but design is an iterative process. The most experienced designers you know and like all use some amount of trial and error. And it's going to vary based on the business and the industry category and or their level of experience. But for the most part, designers iterate over and over and over again, even if they just do it really fast, right? And have some experience where they can plow right through that. So that doesn't mean you always think you've nailed it, but you know that when you put photo, copy, imagery, call to action, and you've got a flow, right? A great eyeline, logo, header text, call to action, or logo, header text, call to action, and there's an eyeline that's really clear right there, then you know you're starting to communicate the idea of the business and the outcome that can be expected and connect that desire to that transaction. And that's where the rubber hits the road with effective design. So when you pick a great template and you have an understanding of what it is you want people to do, what action you want them to take, and you put things in that right order as you delete content out of it and add your content in or change content that's in it with your content, whatever kind of content that is, then that understanding both the eyeline and negative space, choosing great photos, having a great headline, having a great, what is it called? I got so many words in my brain right now. The positioning statement. All of those things are going to go a long way to getting your template from install to feeling like, okay, I think we're pretty close to publishing. But like I said, keep in mind that choosing a template or a theme in Squarespace isn't as important as it used to be. It might not even be as important as it is on other platforms. Like when you consider the WordPress ecosystem is pretty different, and there's lots of different templates and themes that fit based on what features you're choosing to use in the platform, right? Because their plugin ecosystem is ginormous. Whereas with Squarespace, it does a lot of things right out of the box really well. And every single template in the template setup at the beginning, the template choice at the beginning, inherits the ability to serve every single feature on the platform. So in that regard, it doesn't really matter what template you pick, because every template can be hacked to look like any other template if you know what you're doing. Now, if you're not comfortable with that level of work, or you don't have the design understanding and experience to make all of that, major shift happen, that's okay. That's why this video, right? That's why I want you to start with your key assets. Have those, your photography, your headline, your positioning statement. Understand those things, your brand, right? Clarify your call to action right out of the gate. Know what action you want people to take. So the button, is it in the right place if it's a phone number? Is it in the right place if it's a book a discovery call or schedule a service or whatever that is? Or if it's e-commerce, are we driving people right to shop? Or do we have featured items that we want to have quick view or add to cart right there on the homepage? Or do they go to a shop page, pick a category, and then go choose from products? Having an understanding of that flow goes a long way to picking a template that's just a little bit less work to set up. And then lastly, know your brand identity. The less you have to change from a style perspective, the faster you will get to publish. I don't know that you'll pick one. I don't know if it's even possible to pick one that is perfect right out of the gate, unless you just don't care, or if you just need it to be good enough to go. There's nothing wrong with that. Get hasty and get it out. That's the goal. Perfect is the enemy of done. Don't worry about getting the perfect template. Get it in, get your content in, get the content in your photography and the styles right. And then you'll find that it's working pretty well out of the gate. You can come back, look at your analytics, get some feedback from market. Once you validate your offer and the content on the website based on conversations, you can go back and make changes to it and iterate over and over again. I recommend touching your website once a month. Block off time. Time block this. 2 hours on whatever day worked for you. Friday, Saturday, Monday, whatever it is. Block off a couple of hours. Go in, spend some time with the website. Have a play page. I've done this. Almost every website I make has a play page where you go in and you have all of the styles on this super long page. And when you make changes to the styles, you can see how they're going to behave. And then you can update the rest of the website to make sure that it's cascading the way you expected. So have a play page that the public doesn't see, where you can break content and overlap things and do things you wouldn't actually think would represent your brand in a good way, but you might surprise yourself. I don't know. So anyway, that's what I got today. 3 tips and a bonus. So I guess it was four tips on how to choose a great template in Squarespace. I hope this was helpful. If it was, like, subscribe, call me crazy in the comments, whatever you want to do, that's cool. And we'll see you Wednesday, 11 a.m. right here, this exact same time, just a different day. Oh, what's today? Cinco de Mayo too, right? The May 5th. I didn't even talk sombreros or margaritas or anything, but look, grab yourself a marg tonight and have a good time. I'll probably be firing down some tacos. Why not? Let's enjoy ourselves. And I'll see you Wednesday. Have a good one.